Hi guys, it's me, Joey. I've noticed a lot of people trying out this vlog series where they'll take a TV show and they'll watch each episode and talk about what their thoughts on the episode is. And I guess I wanted to try my hand at it. It seems interesting because it keeps me updating more, and I feel like I haven't been updating as often. Otherwise, the show I wanted to choose was something I was kind of looking forward to. I saw previews of it on Cartoon Network, and I just couldn't help but notice that the premise in itself seems like something that interests me. It's a show called We Bare Bears. We Bare Bears. And as its title shows, it stars three bears. And what I found interesting about it and why I wanted to check it out is, while it had, you can tell it contains that same silly, surreal humor that you'd find in Adventure Time and the regular show that's pretty much typical of what Cartoon Network's doing these days. The premise in itself has three bears, but three bears that are not necessarily like, bears you find together in the same habitat. You have a grizzly bear, a polar bear, and a panda bear. Three bears that could never really, get together, and you have them put together and be friends. And that in itself seems like the great premise for like a comedy starring bears. Like, even like, I remember like doing a reading once, like in a class in middle school, where I remember where there was this big discussion whether or not the panda bear was more related to a raccoon than an actual bear, but they're still considered bears, I guess, today. But I don't know. That in itself, the premise to see three bears hanging out with each other just seemed that could never really hang out, but be friends and just, go on adventures. I don't know. That kind of appeals to me. I like that type of stupid humor, so that's just me. But a lot of things that I liked about this first episode doesn't really apply to Teen Titans Go, or at least I feel like Teen Titans Go doesn't really utilize on. But enough, talking about how much I like the premise. Let's actually talk about the first episode I saw. So, starts off with the Bears playing basketball on like a public course, and they notice that all their stuff goes missing, and it's pretty much them trying to find their stuff, and all shenanigans ensue, very much in the same vein as like, the Three Stooges and whatnot. But one thing that I think was, interesting, I feel like, the writers kind of didn't take advantage of the fact is that each bear, you kind of like expect which one's going to be the over-the-top, stupid one, which one's going to be the neurotic one, and which one's going to be the strange one. The grizzly bear is going to be the leader, but the dumb one. The panda bear is going to be the neurotic one who seems to like technology. And the polar bear is the strange one, who I think is probably going to be like my favorite character. Either that or the grizzly bear. I feel like either him or the grizzly bear are going to be my favorite characters if I keep watching this show. But the polar bear speaks to himself in the third person, refers to himself in the third person, which I thought was kind of cute. Cute is the key word too. These designs are adorable. I love the simplicity of these designs. The backgrounds themselves are nice and detailed. It takes place in San Francisco. They make it very clear that this place takes place in San Francisco. You see the trolleys, they're going up an incline, you see the buildings. But you can tell there's a lot of detail in the backgrounds, but the designs of the humans themselves are very simple. Even the humans actually look kind of cute. It's a very, they're not too simplified, but they're like, just enough. And I feel like, it does kind of set itself apart from like Adventure Time and the regular show to a degree where it doesn't really just feel like it's ripping that off or, capitalizing on those shows. The humor in this episode is very silly and over the top and stupid, but there's a charm to it. What I didn't like about Teen Titans Go, and I mentioned in my review, is that while it's very stupid and over the top, I don't feel like you have a straight man or someone to point out that it's strange and stupid. Whereas in this episode, since it takes place in San Francisco, and pointing out the elephant in the room, obviously everybody doesn't point out how strange it is that there are bears talking and walking on, on two legs. But otherwise, they are pointing out their mischief and pointing out the strangeness of their antics, or just, they seem like they just want to ignore them, which I kind of just found hilarious. And even, there's a great scene in the beginning where like they're trying to contact, I think it's like the person who hands out the, parking tickets. And she pretty much just wants to blow them off. I don't know if we're ever going to see that character again. But I don't know. There's a great scene where they're like chasing down, I think it's a pigeon, and they're like crashing into everything. And part of that, does rely on the slapstick of, someone else's misery. So I kind of like that they point out that there's actual pain and consequence, and like, their antics have consequences to them. And just seeing them go through that brought me back to that sort of Three Stooges humor that I feel like we're not seeing a lot these days in animation. But I don't know. Something about it, I feel like this show has restraints, and I feel like after we get to know the characters a little bit more and know a little bit more about them, I feel like they can, fully go into it. This is very much a first episode. Like, I can see probably why a lot of people won't get hooked onto it in the first episode. Me personally, I think it's adorable, and I might actually keep watching this show, and I'm more or less interested in, seeing where the show will go. The punchline. The show actually has a punchline, and actually builds, I feel like they came up with the punchline first, and then just sort of like built up getting to that punchline. That to me seems like good execution. Otherwise, first episode of We Bare Bears, really enjoyed it. If you want to see more vlogs on this show, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to try my hand at other shows to do vlogs on, let me know in the comments below. I hope to try to do this up, constantly. If not, I don't know. But, this is me experimenting. I'd like to give it a shot. Otherwise, first episode of We Bare Bears, definitely liked it. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a good day.